Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This will be my part 2 of my movie room tour or my movie collection tour, however you want to perceive it. In part 1 I was telling you guys that I would have a solution to my issue with my shelves. I was having an issue with they want to fall over, they kind of push themselves over kind of naturally. And I started thinking, well, what can I come up with to fix it? Well, you could see on there, I've come up with some cheap plastic clamps from Harbor Freight. These are pretty cool. They're pretty inexpensive. I think these are 89 cents a piece. They got some pretty good tension on them, so they hold pretty well. And all they do is they clamp onto these little, I guess they're little like one by one boards, and I think they're actually 1x2s, excuse me, 1x2 boards, and they work quite nicely. So that was a easy solution. And the reason I leave gaps in my on my shelves here is just simply because I want an expansion space for the future, and it makes it a lot easier when, instead of having to move whole rows and stuff, constantly moving stuff all the time just to throw in a few discs, then I can just, add them on easily. So stay tuned for the rest of this video. I'll be showing you the rest of my collection, my Blu-rays, rest of my Blu-rays, my 4Ks, Steelbooks, Criterion collection, Kino Lorber, etc. Some more sets, some more TV sets. So hang on there and we'll get to it. Talk to you later. Welcome back everybody to my movie collection tour. We'll be starting off today with the Criterion collection. Probably the first boutique collection I ever really got into collecting were Criterions. Now, I back in the day, back when I was a kid, when Laserdiscs were still being produced, I didn't collect Laserdiscs, so I never knew that Criterion was a thing until I got into Blu-ray collecting and DVD collecting, and I didn't really have a lot of DVD Criterions. I had a few Wes Andersons and some of the bigger titles, but I didn't really seek out Criterion until I got into Blu-ray collecting. After that, it kind of became a hobby. I don't I'm not somebody who's trying to collect every single one of them, because there's some titles I just don't have, period pieces and stuff, like around the Victorian area, that type of stuff I don't have a lot of interest in. And not saying there's some good movies out there. I mean, there always obviously are, but I don't not everything out there I have interest in. It's Criterion, but I do enjoy collecting them because there's always something out there that you don't want. I'm just not when it comes to anything, I'm just not really a completionist. There's very few things. Maybe the upcoming Mystery Science Theater and stuff you'll get to see here in a few minutes. Some of that stuff I would like to be a completionist on, but there's a lot of sets out there that I'm not paying. I'm going to pay $300 for the out-of-print sets, and I have some of the out-of-print sets anyway, so I'm pretty content with what I have. I've got some of the republished versions, and so I'm pretty content with all my Mystery Science Theater sets, stuff like that. But on with the Criterion collection here. I got a little bit of glare here on the camera. Had a weird lighting. I'm once again up on this chair, or up on my little ladder here, filming the top of this row. Ride the Pink Horse is an excellent movie. Another one. That's the thing. It's hard to go wrong with Criterion collection, because they're generally going to be pretty good movies. I very rarely have watched a Criterion Collection movie that I've been disappointed in. What do you guys think about the 4K releases from Criterion so far? Now, I know that Mulholland Drive is kind of funny. I said that Mulholland Drive has always been re-released. I haven't rebought that, actually. I'm on the fence about that. I'm on the fence about replacing my Criterion Collection in 4K because I don't want to go back and do that again, because I don't know how inferior some of these prints are going to be compared to the 4Ks, and I just don't want to have to invest that kind of money into rebuying my whole set. If people are starting out now collecting, it's probably good, but I just don't. I think it's kind of hopefully it's not some kind of cash grab Criterion tries to get into by doing this. I just don't 100% agree with it at all, as far as trying to reprint stuff, because I seen something they had the other day that it was just a retread. So, I mean, I can understand people wanting to get better get a better transfer or something like that. I understand, but some of these Blu-ray transfers are gorgeous anyways. They're 4K 2 and 4K scans, so they're going to be quite interesting. I do have I do have the big Federico Fellini set. I don't know if I pulled that out in my video or not, but I have the Federico Fellini set that came out and has a lot of those movies that you'll see in here on individual sections there. But didn't pull Detour out there from. Detour's an excellent noir. Sometimes when you see things in here that I haven't unpackaged, they're movies that I have seen. I just haven't got around to watching the Criterion Collection version. Not every single one of them. There'll be a few here and there I haven't watched yet, and gets more of a rarity when it comes to the Criterion stuff. I generally I kind of hate that the Barnes & Noble does that once a year. I can't figure out why Barnes & Noble, year round, except for the Criterion sale, they want to sell the, at higher prices. These will be like, a regular title will be priced at $40, and why they just wait till twice a year to do these sales. I'm sure it boosts their sales, but if you just priced them at the normal range, that half off price year round, you would sell them year round. And I don't know I don't know what kind of strategy that is with doing that. I'd like to understand their point of doing that. I don't know if they can't afford it. I mean, they can obviously afford to do it like once a year, or twice a year, excuse me. So they have to think they could afford it year round just to give them, because really Criterions you used to go to, and it kind of sucks. I think that has kind of driven up the price on Amazon too. I think it's just the market prices went up on them, because generally now, if you try to go, not always, sometimes you can find them for $22 if it's a certain thing that's been around for a while. They'll kind of have it discounted, but most of the time there anymore, you see them about $27.99 for a Criterion, and I just don't. I don't really like that too much, because you used to be able to go kind of before this. I think it was kind of before the popularity of physical media's kind of went up because of people's YouTube channels and things like that, and Instagram and things of that nature. I believe it's pushed the price up, the demand or something, so they've run the prices up. Because it used to be you pretty much could get back in the day, you could get Criterion Blu-rays for $22 all day long on Amazon, unless it was like a special set that was like multi-disc or something, or just a set itself. They would be at the higher price range, but now they've all kind of went around $27, and it's just it kind of slows down my purchasing of Criterion collections. And Godzilla was probably I think Godzilla is the very first Criterion release on Laserdisc. Which means it's basically the first Criterion release. Well, we move down now to our Kino Lorbers. These are just the sets. There's the film noir sets and the western sets. I'm kind of blasting through these real quick, and everybody's seen most of my Criterion except for newer stuff. Really good stuff in here. I just purchased, I just ordered the part 5 of that Noir set. They have a number 5 set, so I ordered that from Amazon. It's actually back ordered for some reason. I don't know if it doesn't ship here soon. I'm gonna have to maybe get on Kino Lorber's site and order. John Lennon movie there, really cool. I look for kind of oddball movies when I buy movies. I like old movies, but I also look for like little oddball things too that nobody thinks about. So like that John Lennon movie, things like that. Sam Peckinpah movie, Junior Bonner. It's a good movie. Always Lee Van Cleef's always great. But stuff like I was talking about, kind of like that Cabin Boy there, I really like it. Excellent Marlene Dietrich movie. Blue Angel. Von Strasberg was the director of Blue Angel, and there's actually I think I have it on Criterion over here. It might be, I think it's the Von Strasberg set that's on the Criterion too. It's Marlene Dietrich and Von Strasberg. Really great director. Camp Nowhere is one of my old childhood favorites. Sergio Leone cassette. Before unwrapping it, I had to unwrap it here recently. I wanted to watch back through it before I did a Sergio Leone podcast. I felt like those transfers were pretty good. I know people had some problems with them, and I don't know. I'll probably rebuy some of that stuff. Maybe if they put it out in a set on 4K. I don't know if I'll buy them individually on 4K or not. Some people, they just always are wanting better and better and better transfers, better and better. And then sometimes you look at some of the transfer. I can understand on something that's like got a bad transfer. Some things get bad transfers sometimes, but things with good transfers, which the Man with No Name trilogy, which Good, Bad, and Ugly, all the stuff. I thought the transfer looked pretty good on there. I mean, and some people were complaining about the color grading. I thought it was pretty fine, That Lost Highway, I was glad to see it got put out on a good version of it, because the only version I had of it for years was like this, I think it's like Chinese bootleg copy of it from, it was not the greatest transfer. Great Bob Hope, Paleface, Son of Paleface. I can't remember which one's the funnier one. I think Paleface is the best. The original Son of Paleface is not as good. That's an excellent little movie. Amazon Women on the Moon, excuse me. There's a few of these in here I haven't watched yet, but not too many. Some people are probably disappointed that I don't have a lot more horror movies. I'm just not a massive horror fan. I just don't. It's just not my thing. I like some, obviously. I think some, but I mean, I don't obsess over it by far. I mean, it's not a genre to obsess over to me. it's kind of, once you've seen it, and it's, I was into it as a kid. I was into horror as a kid, and then it just, the appeal kind of wore off. It's a good Tom Cruise movie. W.C. Fields. Those are some recent releases on Blu-ray. I'm happy to have his stuff on Blu-ray like that. I've got several DVD sets, but he's one of those people I'd have to definitely rebuy in higher definition. I need to watch North Shore here soon. I've obviously seen it a million times as a kid, but I haven't rewatched that Blu-ray transfer. I don't think I've ever seen it in high def, or a good transfer either. So it'll be interesting watching that. I get that's a 4K Kino Lorber, obviously. It's kind of interesting seeing what Kino will stick out with a slip cover, because you don't normally see them. Kind of my story with Kino is that, and we're kind of at the end of the Kino, obviously, is that I remember just starting, back probably 10 years ago, I started buying movies and, buying these older movies, and they kept coming in with this Kino Lorber. I was like, and then you see the Kino Lorber in the thing, obviously. These are my Steelbook sets here, obviously. These are my Steelbook 4K sets, and pretty excellent. We'll move on to my Steelbooks and 4Ks here, plus some other boutiques. About the Kino, I basically, I just started receiving them in, and and then I started getting more and more of them, and so it was, and then when I was finally time to put all my stuff back on the shelf, so I was like, man, I'm gonna have a bunch of these, because I was buying more and more, especially when you buy a lot of older movies, you tend to run into Kino a lot, so it was excellent. But these are my 4K sets. I don't have tons. I don't really have tons of individual 4Ks. I guess 4Ks with my Steelbooks and stuff, I do have quite a few, but I don't know. I still collecting plenty on DVD. I don't make an emphasis just to buy stuff on 4K. If it's a certain new movie and it's available in 4K, I'll try to buy it in 4K. But I don't, if it's only available in Blu-ray, that's what I'm going to get it on. I'm not breaking down the door just to try to get a 4K print of something. A lot of times it has to be special, especially the price has been a little bit higher than Blu-rays. But I'm mostly after, the movie itself. I do have a lot of nice sets and things like that, I admit, but I'm not necessarily after the box it comes in. That's why I've been kind of, it kind of aggravates me sometimes when certain things come out on special editions, like Arrow and stuff, and it's in these like real big fancy boxes and stuff, and it's just a single movie. I don't mind buying movie sets all day long from like a director or just like a certain genre set or something like that. It don't bother me at all buying sets, but buying a big old box with just one movie in it, I just think it's a waste of money. I know a lot of people are doing that with some of these Steelbooks too. They're buying these like extremely boutique companies that are making these real expensive like Steelbook sets. I was like, it'll be just like it'll be like three of the same movie in the same box, and like 3 different Steelbook variations. I was like, no, you're just collecting boxes then, and that's not, it's about the movies, it's not about the box. I mean, I hate to be like that, but it's just, it's you buying the movie, that's the art, not the box. if it was about the packaging and stuff, I wouldn't collect laser discs like I do, because a lot of times laser discs are just, well, I mean, I guess you do get it. A lot of people do, because you do have that nice big artwork and stuff on it. But still, a lot of times the artwork on the front of some laser discs were disappointing, to say the least. I don't want to rant about that too much though, just because it's just it's not it's really your prerogative, whatever you do. But I just wouldn't waste money in super boutique, custom steelbooks and stuff like that, because you're just throwing your money away, because it's never going to be worth anything. I mean, collecting movies in itself is a waste of money, because I mean, it just has to be your passion to be a movie addict. But when you're collecting just those steelbooks and things like that, it's just you're just collecting custom steelbooks and stuff. They're just not going to be worth anything, no matter what, because for one, a lot of you commissioned it. And now we dropped down here, we started my steelbooks. I'll probably blow through the steelbooks, because my steelbook collection's went through pretty extensively, so we'll probably just kind of blow through these, because most people, if you want to, you can go watch my previous steelbook collections, which I think I did one just on these right here, the MCU steelbooks and the comic book steelbooks, and then I did another one with my complete steelbook series. So you can go back and watch both of those if you want to see these in a little more depth. My Back to the Future and Indiana Jones sets, which everybody bought. Steelbooks to me were, I started collecting them really just because I was getting into 4Ks, and I've talked about this before, how the Steelbook price was not much more expensive than just the regular 4K price, at least when 4Ks first came out. I think 4Ks were around about $27.99, and then you could get a steelbook for sometimes $32.99. So a few bucks more, $5 more wasn't, it was worth it. So that's why you see I'm kind of not buying as many steelbooks anymore, just because the price gap has kind of changed. You see a lot of 4Ks now drop down into like the $22 range, so I've been buying a few more. I mean, there's obviously some steelbooks that I really want, but I'm not doing as much pre-ordering steelbooks like I used to. And there's some things I really want, but sometimes the artwork's been disappointing on some of them, and I some of the guys I know, I can understand and do podcasts with why you might want a custom steelbook, but because sometimes the artwork's disappointing, but I still don't think it's worth the trouble, because I mean, it's just whatever floats your boat. It's that Hacksaw Ridge. Sorry, I blipped on it real quick. It's just a regular DVD, or Blu-ray, excuse me. Hadn't even went back and watched that Forrest Gump. I've seen it so many movies. I've seen so many times. I just don't tend to go back and watch immediately. Cool airplane. I don't know if that's even been open. I think I have another version of it that I bought. Yeah, in fact I do. I have that Paramount Plus, or I think it's the Paramount Plus collection, and I think it's the same transfer. I'm not sure if that's a 4K or just a Blu-ray, but I think I bought both because I always wanted both because I'm a huge David Zucker and Zucker Brothers fan, obviously with Naked Gun and Kentucky Fried Movie, things like that. Some of these, like the Fifth Element, it's actually that actually might be the 4K Fifth Element. If it's not, if it never was released in 4K, that is a 4K Steelbook because I made it a 4K Steelbook. There's the rad. It's probably not been opened because I have the 4K version of it. I know some people are cringing and say, "Oh, you're sliding those discs. I can just hear those Steelbooks sliding against each other. Not hurting anything. Not even worried about it." I know Starship Troopers is a 4K. Actually, one day, as a good story, I'd actually forgot that I bought the 4K Steelbook of Starship Troopers. And I went to Walmart one day and seen that they had the 4K version of Starship Troopers. I was like, I couldn't remember if I had that. And, you know, I do have that app with all my movies on it. And for some reason, I just picked it up off the shelf and carried it to the front of the store. And I was like, and I got in line and I was like, I better check and make sure I don't have that. There's something familiar about this. So I checked and sure enough, I had it. But here's some of my box sets, Al Adamson. There's a Severin set, there are indicators, 2 indicator sets and 2 Severin sets. And here are my Arrow videos. I know they're kind of on the bottom of the shelf, but down here, but these are my Arrow. Some really cool stuff here. Really nice sets. I like I'm saying, like there's one of that Donnie Darko 4K. That's obviously one I did buy like that, but it's Donnie Darko. It's kind of hard to not buy that one. Tremors is obviously a good 4K to buy. Now that's the Blu-ray Django. I was able to get a hold of that before it went out of print or whatever, and then they just immediately, it didn't really go out of print, they just end up putting it in 4K, and it's the same set. These are just the individual Arrow titles. Those Elvira covers are always funny. I think I have another version of that somewhere. So I bought that version. I bought another one, I believe. I have another Elvira movie as well. That Lake Michigan monster. That's a pretty good little movie right there. Made by some independent guys up in Michigan area, and really cool little movie. I need to do a review on that because I know one of the guys follows me on Instagram, so I ought to get in touch with him and try to do an interview with him. Actually, it'd be pretty cool. It's got a really 50s sci-fi feel to the movie. It's really a cool movie. Some really cool stuff right here. Sister Street Fighter. A couple movies here and there I haven't watched in these. So a lot of the movies, I think I discussed this in the last video. Sometimes these movies I would buy a bunch of them from Hamilton Books, and I'd get them in these big bulks because you know how Hamilton Books are. You can get them real cheap, and that was part of the issue for having such a large buildup of movies at one time last year, and I just it's kind of got behind on everything. Sorry, my camera work got kind of lax here. Move down here to my book, I guess the media books. Run through these real quick. Some pretty cool covers. Now that Big Lebowski was an original. That's the original Blu-ray release. I'm not sure if it was released at the same time on it with in a regular case or not, but it was at least got released in that media book like that. It's pretty cool releases though, with Right Stuff, Little Shop of Horrors, obviously. I think there was 7 back there I didn't pull out. Blade Runner, and there's that Spider-Man trilogy, which is cool. Which I'm not sure if it got released in the book or it was re-released in but it got re-released in 4K, that set. I'm not sure if it's a media book though. These are not media books, but those are just a different type of series. I got a couple of, and then there's just it's just a big box that won't fit in a lot of places, so I got the Hard Day's Night there. These are those are just these are just some of my specialty sets and things like that that don't fit on a normal shelf. Mystery Science Theater's 10 box sets. That was the Gamera set there. This is Monkey Season 1. Never did buy Season 2, regrettably. Have never bought this Season 2, and now it's kind of through the roof on pricing, being out of print. That was just something I picked up one day. I don't know why. Had to have this. It's still sealed up because I have the regular Blu-ray version of the movie, so I've never opened the stash box. There's the Turtles and Scooby-Doo complete series. My Star Trek sets here. Star Trek original series 1, 2, and 3 there. Having trouble getting them back in their slots. Excuse me. Probably out of order now. The SummerSlam box set. And here's Next Generation and Enterprise. I really enjoyed Enterprise. This kind of sucks being, that Star Trek's still by far the best. All this new stuff is terrible. And those were just my old Lord of the Rings, the original DVD box sets. There's the Friday the 13th set. Three Stooges set and Breaking Bad. I need to get those cleaned up a little bit better. They're a little bit dirty. And now here we are, Mystery Science Theater section, and this is you can tell I'm a fan of Mystery Science Theater. Got a bunch of this. I hope the new Mystery Science Theater is not bad. I wasn't a massive fan of the newer stuff, the newest iteration on it. It wasn't bad, but I'm afraid they're going to get real woke in this new stuff, and I'm kind of terrified. If it's just a shame things that go on. It's going to be a bunch of Trump jokes probably and whatever, but it's just no need in it. I don't go through every single one of these because the cases look basically the same, just different numberings on them. These are some interesting little sets, the lost and found stuff. The biggest thing that I've noticed, that the reason why some of the sets went out of print is they actually got pulled because of rights. Because I think one of them had like a Godzilla movie and it got pulled because of that, and things like the movies like that. So the whole set got pulled and they got re-released later with a different movie on them usually. This is the film crew, which is the second iteration of Mystery Science Theater with Mike Nelson. The Cinematic Titanic, this is the original crew of Mystery Science Theater, their series. There are just some riff tracks, Blu-rays, and DVDs. This is some kind of extended edition. I don't know if I've even sat down and watched that version yet. I bought that one day off of eBay and never have watched it. I just kind of flash across these sets. These are just some DVD box sets. The Ed Wood set, Marx Brothers set. Which I have the Marx Brothers set on Blu-ray as well. Just some different sets here. Those NASA sets are pretty cool. NASA mission sets. Humphrey Bogart's collection. And that one in Pal Peralta right there, that is box set of all the Pal Peralta movies. This is my Dragon Ball Z. I listed all this stuff under one big section, section 7, just I didn't want to, this is all the same area, so I didn't want to have to sit there and make a bunch of different numbers for each one of them. It'd been annoying as well. It's the Evangelion. All this is Evangelion right here, so that's why it's wait and pull out, but this is all Neon Genus Evangelion right here. These are the Neon Genus Evangelion. These are they're basically remastered and they shortened them and condensed all of it into 3 series, and they also added CG elements to the animation. It's pretty interesting stuff to have. But basically these 2 shelves you're seeing right here are it's all animation. I tried to get all my animation on here. There's some other animated shows here and there across the room who we'll see here in a minute, but for the most part it's all right here. Great Beavis and Butthead sets came out, I don't know, probably 15 years ago, I guess, at this point. I only have season 2 of The Tick. I ordered season 1 and season 2, and at the time, like, they were both really cheap, and I ordered them, and for some reason season 1 got back ordered, and I never went back and tried to find it again. So it's been kind of aggravating. I need to look that up actually and check it out. I do not know what happened to that. but apparently now the Tick Season 1 is out of print, so it's going for like $66, obviously. I think it was like $10 whenever I originally ordered it, and then everybody must have jumped on ordering it at once, and I wasn't able to get it, so. I know I'm just riveting talking to you guys here. Here's my Gundam stuff here. I've got this whole row is pretty much all Gundam. Really fun stuff if you've ever watched it. Well, this whole row isn't Gundam, but it's the first part of it is. But the Gundam stuff's really good though. I haven't watched Thunderbolt yet. Do a little rearranging for you guys while you're watching. Demon Slayer is good. Primal is excellent. If you've ever seen Primal, that's an excellent show. Here's some of my old cartoons, like Tex Avery cartoons, Hanna-Barbera stuff, things like that. Space Ghost. I like collecting these old cartoons like this. Now that cartoon's actually kind of out of place. I need to move that. I don't know why it's in there, but you got Josie and the Pussycats and Popeye, Tom and Jerry. I just like collecting those because I'm afraid they're going to go out of print or they're going to get censored one of these days, and you'll never be able to see the real things anymore. So I picked up that Flintstones Blu-Ray set. It's really awesome. These are all my Adult Swim videos, DVDs, sets. I think I got all Aqua Teen Hunger Force, all Super Gel coming up here. I think the Super Gel stuff's out of order. Really fantastic cartoons. Frisky Dingo's excellent as well. All this stuff's really good. Space Ghost was good. I just got a couple seasons of Space Ghost. One season of the Brack Show. No, I got 2 seasons of the Brack Show, I'm sorry. I think I got all the Squidbillies, I do believe. Makes me laugh watching that stuff. C-Lab, I think I've got all the C-Lab. Don't have all the Metalocalypse. Got one Blu-ray Metalocalypse there, as you can see. Got a few Venture Brothers. I don't have all the Venture Brothers, though. Wonder Show's good. That Harvey Birdman's good. It's all good. It's all good. One Robot Chicken. And now the rest of my collection here. This is just my toy shelf. These are my headphones that I use. I don't use speakers. I usually listen to everything into headphones here. And below here are my toys. We get into my Motu Revelations here that we're looking at momentarily. Now that was not Revelations over there on top of with the Wind Raider, but these are Revelations here. These are my Motu Origins that I have at the moment. I don't have tons of them. I don't have all of them, but I've got a few of them. Just started collecting this year, so I've been kind of playing catch up to some degree. really nice figures. The posability and the colors are really nice. As you can see, they got the paint works really nice on them. Some really nice stuff. For some reason it's always easier to find the villains too, because they seem like they make more villains than they do the heroes, so it's kind of a weird thing. I got Keldor's head down there for some reason. Land shark. Two evil ends there. One reissue. That white stuff is putty. That's it keeps them standing up there. And here's my Laserdisc player and my Blu-ray player. We go on top of this next shelf here, and this would be my part of my Decepticons. Now my Autobots will be coming up in another video from my bedroom, and that'll be down the road a little bit. And I just noticed I had some spider webs there. Yeah, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. These are the Decepticons, and these are kind of my Galvatrons and Beast Wars Megatrons, and some of the planes here. Starscream. Some of these other guys here. There's really some good looking figures that came out later this year. Sweep and some of these guys like that. It's fantastic looking. This whole series was a good looking series. These are just my books. Some of the stuff I went through before, but we're not going to go through detail of this stuff here. But these are just my books and things like that. Some of my figures that came with my Gumby sets. Here's some Invincible, things like that. My Invincible hardback sets. Some of my Marvel here. Some of my books down here. My conspiracy stuff. Thomas Pynchon, things like that. Roald Dahl. Just random stuff here and there. Here's my Criterion Laserdisc here. I know there wasn't much of a interlude here to this, but these are my Laserdiscs. I just kind of blipped through these real quick just because I'm not going to go through all my Laserdiscs today. We'll explore my Laserdisc collection maybe in another video. It's just hard to do. It's hard to decide what you want to do because you got to just keep breaking it up more and more and more. Really cool Pulp Fiction. Yeah, here's my, I did pull it out as well, I couldn't remember, but it's my Federico Fellini Blu-ray set. Here's the Gamera Blu-ray set. There's that Battlestar Galactica Blu-ray set that's like a European special edition. Just some random laser discs here. The laser discs are not at any kind of order, which is a mistake, which I need to one of these days alphabetize them, but I don't know when that'll happen. Spell Rider. Held in Mod. That's a sealed copy there, but it's the 4:3 version, not the actual correct aspect ratio. That's why I've never unsealed it to watch it, because I have no interest really in watching it in 4:3. Those are kind of cool. Those Police Squad episodes on Laserdisc. It's just a Weird Al Yankovic. I think it's like a documentary, I believe. I hadn't watched it in a while. Thing You Do, available on THX. Lasers had great sound. They had digital sound, but they had kind of inferior video. They just they had less than 4. They didn't have even DVD quality video, so they were a little bit better than VHS, but not much. Here's my Ford and Fox set. Let's kind of give you a preview of this. This is kind of how these are boxed up. It's kind of cheap when you get on the inside of it. I don't think they really knew what to do with this set too much. There's not really, after you get the box open, there's really nothing in there. And there's no pictures, nothing. You think it would be a big booklet or something, but there's not. It's just kind of a disappointment. Just a lot of movies, which is cool. This box, unfortunately, it sits on the ground like this because it's just so big and heavy, you don't know what to do with it. Godzilla. Criterion set. Everybody's seen that. Here's some more of the animated sets here. The Transformers and He-Man, She-Ra, Thundercats, Dennis the Menace. There's a few other sets left out here. The Real Ghostbusters and Voltron, G.I. Joe. Now these, I'll just pretty much just be glancing over these because it's hard to, these shelves suck and it's hard to pull these discs out of here. So I probably won't be doing too much. Now that's the Tick live action show. Mr. Rogers, I bought a few of those. So Dr. Katz. For some reason I think I have season 1 and 2 of Dr. Katz, but I'm not positive I have season 2 though. Some of my reality stuff, the Osbournes, Brady Bunch. There's that other In Living Color that I was missing from the first. It's the Addams Family, the complete series. My favorite, Kids in the Hall. I have the complete series here. Now I have the original 3, these larger box sets, and then the 2 smaller sets that came out later on. Kind of finished up the series. Son of the Beach, kind of a funny show. Another funny show with United States of Terror. It's 10 items or less. That little Star Trek Hot Wheels. I think that company's called Movies on Demand, I believe, and that guy right there makes a lot of they're just burn to discs, but he puts a lot of really nice sets together like that, so I'm gonna check them out. Just some more sets here. The Amanda Show, Ollie G Show, Robin Big, all my Curb Your Enthusiasm, Arrested Development, and on to like this little last section of lasers here. These are just, I'm just going to pull out a few here and show you guys that this is how, a lot of these aren't in packaging yet. They haven't made it into storage. These were just kind of stuff I'd bought towards the end of my collecting, which I've never finished collecting these, but it's just in my last runs, they're buying them in bulk. So that's why they've never been put into any cellophane, put into any of the poly cases and things like that. Well, we're about to make it to the end of my collection here. We got a few more minutes left. I just wanted to say I would like you guys to make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. It really helps me in the algorithm. That same old spiel. But I appreciate it, you guys watching today, and there'll eventually be a part 3 that's going to come out. It will probably just be my bedroom tour, not so much a part 3, and that'll finish up my toy collection. And I've actually got a new shelf ordered at the moment when it comes to my DVD section, so I'm going to be having a lot more space for my DVDs here soon, so that's why I'm kind of waiting to make that video. I'm going to reshoot some of that video for you guys and show you my DVD collection more thoroughly. These are some of my box sets in Laserdisc Land, Golden Age of Looney Tunes. I don't think that one's even been opened yet. Some of these are really cool. I ran into one day the classic early Soviet cinemas. These Buster Keaton sets are fun. Here's kind of a look at my computer area. And actually, here are my Mego figures. I'm going to give you a little look at them here. Got a little bit of glare here, a lot of plastic. Let's keep these in their boxes. So I don't know why. I'm just not interested in taking them out of the boxes for some reason. Kind of look at some of my computer equipment here. This is my setup, what I'm using right now to record this, and microphone, mixing board, everything, all my effects processors, stuff like that. I know it's kind of a weak finish to my video here, but it's showing you some of my computer stuff here, and we'll be headed up top here on the last part of my video, and a last glance, and well, last glance here you can see my dusty computer. And this is up above everything. These are some turtle figures. Here's my original Castle Grayskull. That's the original from 1984, I guess. And these are my box sets. This is where I keep my box sets at now, the long box sets as I call them. Pretty cool stuff. I know I'm not spending a lot of time on these, but I'm standing at the very top of the ladder with my arm outstretched to get here. I know it's kind of a crazy place to keep these, but it's a lot of space up here, and it's a good place to have them. But this is my long box set collection here. Pretty cool stuff. So I appreciate you guys watching my video, and I guess I will see you guys later. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you.